Right. Good afternoon, everybody, and I hope you are enjoying this conference as much as I'm doing. It's really, really interesting, and all the topics that we are discussing are extremely relevant. So I'm going to start by asking you a question, and I would like you to raise your hand if you disagree with this statement. And the statement is, we are in the most complex moment for civil aviation since its start. So anybody disagrees? No. So this panel, actually, or this flash, whatever it's called, is here to deal with this complexity because we have most traffic than ever. So we are at the peak of the traffic ever. We have gone over 2019 levels. We have as well most risks than ever. I mean, we just hear about GNSS jamming and spoofing and so many others, drones, that we didn't have 5 years ago. We have, on top of that, less airspace because we have lots of conflict zones that we cannot overfly, which squeezes our capacity and makes us create new ways of dealing with more traffic and less airspace. And finally, we have lots of new entrants. And it's not just the drones and the eVTOLs, and we have high-altitude operations, we have supersonic. So everything is coming at the same time. So I guess the big question is, how do we manage this complexity? How we are able to identify the risks, whatever the source, and how do we manage those risks effectively so we are able to keep our skies safe? And our record, as you know, is the best in the world. But maintaining that with this level of complexity is a very, very big challenge. So I'm just going to say quite quickly, obviously, because we don't have a lot of time, what EASA is doing, and then I will give the floor to my really important fellow panelists to see what they are doing in their organizations. So from an EASA point of view, we are reviewing our safety risk management, and we are going into this concept of interrelated risk management, which means basically that we are exploring all the sources of potential risks, wherever they are coming from. It could be cybersecurity, it could be security, health, weather. It could be polar bears, as our colleague from Ergrilla was saying this morning, which was quite interesting, but it is there. And we know that because of the weather change, the patterns of the different wildlife is changing. So polar bears will cross the runway, or there will be big birds that are crashing against aircraft at higher altitudes. So all these things are adding an extra complexity in how to understand all the risks. But it's not all bad news, because we have as well now different things that we are doing to be able to understand this total risk picture. And the first one is to apply this cross-domain approach. So it's been said so many times yesterday and today that we need to work cross-domain because everything is interrelated. So we cannot do an airworthiness, a flight ops. No, everything has to be together. And in EASA, we are working with our colleagues from certification and flight standards to understand how everything is interrelated. So that's the first key point. And in your organization, you should do the same. The second big thing is that we are collating more and more and more data from many different sources. And this is, Carol was saying this morning, data is so important. Well, now we not only have the traditional sources of risks, which will be the occurrence reporting, we are collating as well a lot of other data like FDM, ADSB, ANSP data, airports data, and we have this amazing big data platform that we are using, like in Data for Safety, where we are able to process all this information and then, with expert knowledge, try to understand what are the top risks that we need to mitigate. And the last bit, which is as well a big improvement compared to the future, is we are all working together, and you only have to look around. I mean, the collaboration between all the stakeholders is at the highest point as well. So highest complexity, but we have as well highest cooperation, and we have as well some tools that in the past we didn't have. So all this will help us to be from a predictive way of dealing with risk to a proactive one, and hopefully in the future, predictive. And Hete was saying something like this: how can we model or think about what could come in the future? Because there are some risks today that we had no idea 5 years ago. So we will have with that a dynamic risk picture that we will be evaluating on an ongoing basis. And in our case, what we are coming up with is, instead of having, you are probably aware, in the past we have like 200 safety issues. Well, now we will have around 10 top safety topics. And this will help us a lot to prioritize and to put the resources where we need them. And then we will identify the mitigation actions and the short, medium, long-term measures that will be addressing all of them. So I won't tell you which ones they are today because we don't have time, but we will be publishing this information very soon. It will be in our EPAS, our European Plan of Aviation Safety. But to give you an idea, the first one is GNSS jamming and spoofing. So we are already mitigating this risk, as I said, on a period of time, and we will be able to evaluate if the mitigation actions are actually working to mitigate this risk. So having said that, and because we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to give the floor now to Giancarlo first and then Yannick, so we can hear their perspective. And then we would like to hear from you in terms of what are your ideas or the questions that you have in terms of how we can manage this risk. Sorry, I forgot one thing which is very important as well, and is the governance. So in EASA as well, we have strengthened our governance to make sure that actually it's not only the data that we collate or the expert judgment, which is extremely important, but as well that we have several levels of governance to test and to make sure that what we decide that is on the top is the right one. So with this, I'm going to ask Giancarlo to give us the perspective from the UKCA.
Thank you, Maria, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. Very happy to be here. So, as you said, the system is becoming clearly more complex. So, and in this journey, what we talked yesterday about the journey, I would like to disagree with that wording, maybe. Technically, a journey as an endpoint, you arrive somewhere. With safety, it's a continuous work. We don't have a finishing line. So technically, it's more a death march than a journey, right?
That's a bit gloomy. Don't scare everybody, no?
But we have become an ultra-safe system. And the problem with ultra-safe system is that, you know, it's more difficult to become even better. And in this complexity that you mentioned, the risk picture is evolving, and it's more difficult to understand and to manage as a whole. So all this complexity requires all actors working together and try to find common solution and being more predictive, which is nothing new. I remember my first ICAO SMS course. You know, there is a reactive, there is a proactive, and there is a predictive element of safety management. This is the space where we are now. We need to become more predictive. We need to be able to understand better what is coming, because we have proportionally so few accidents happening that we're not really able to learn everything from what we see. This means for all of us, as it was mentioned already in the first edition of the ICAO Safety Management Manual, aggressively looking for information, meaning looking for troubles, not waiting for things to happen, and clearly using new tools that technology is giving us, and I think we need to become better at that. Only by working together and using this approach, we can make sure that we continue to have the necessary understanding of the risk picture that we need to maintain the level of safety that we have today, or to improve it. I think yesterday we had a question around what about confidence of people in the system while seeing on the press all these accidents happening. And I think this is a little bit the risk, because we are very safe, but because we have so many movements every day, even if the rate of accident remains the same, the absolute number of accidents is increasing, and therefore, you know, public confidence may be diminishing in a way. So talking about the risks that we are seeing emerging, there's first two things that are not really emerging, they've been around for a long time. One of them has been mentioned a lot today, but where we think more work needs to be done. The first one is the one that has been mentioned multiple times, GNSS interference. Now, to tell the good story, the good part of the story, we do see a stabilization in terms of effect on the operation. I think that the mitigation measures that operators mainly have been putting in place are providing some benefits in terms of safety performance, meaning we're doing the right thing there. However, we definitely need a more longer-term solution, especially in terms of resilience of the systems. The second one that I don't think was mentioned, but it's well known to a certain extent as being a risk, where I think we have an issue is understanding what to do with it, is lithium batteries risks. The carriage of lithium batteries on board is still an area of concern for us, and we would like to see maybe some more actions, and we will be working on that as we move forward in the next period of time. And then we move into the emerging risks. Drones have been mentioned multiple times. I think that the risk pictures that we have around drones is not complete yet. I think we are suffering from a lack of data. We are suffering from a non-complete understanding of the model of operations of the technology. But I would like to divide the drone-related risk in three bigger parts. The first one is the obvious part, which is the air and ground risk of anything that is flying, right? So how to avoid mid-air collision, or how to avoid that a drone falls on the head of somebody and kills the person or harms the person. The second one is related to increased use of drones by states, entities. They tend to have their model of operation. Regulations are not necessarily clear across the world in terms of how to manage this, and therefore this is introducing an additional risk. But I think this risk should be balanced between the benefits that are achievable by the society. So allowing emergency services to use a drone is not, from a risk perspective, the same thing as allowing somebody to deliver drones, to deliver parcels with drones. There's a difference, and I think we all understand that, right? And then there's clearly the other aspect, which is the malicious use of drones, which is a very good example for the topic of this panel, because it's about working together with a number of other entities, with a number of other actors to try to address the issue in the best possible ways without penalizing the system operation as a whole. Another emerging risk, at least for us, for the UK, I think there are a number of states that are in the same situation. The UK is taking what it calls a more war-fighting readiness posture, like it or not. Military activities are increasing in a way, also developing and changing, and we need to take this into consideration. It has a big effect on airspace and the way we manage airspace, but we also have certified organizations in the UK that are supporting the military in their training and in their operations, such as the tankers, for example, some of them on the civil registers. We have the similar combat training being provided by civil register aircraft. All of this is changing. The requirements are changing. They need to do different things, new things, more training, and this brings about some additional risks. With regards to cybersecurity, yes, there is a big element of risk that we all know. What we are concerned about is more the smaller things that have to do with cybersecurity, such as falsification of licenses, falsification of certifications, including falsification of parts certificates. Mental health in aviation personnel as a whole, a concern. I don't think we do have the complete holistic picture that we need. Yes, the work after Germanwings that we all did, I was involved at the time under EASA, has done good things, but I think we need to do more work there and have a more integrated approach, and not only looking at the pilots, but all of the personnel. And the last one that I would like to mention, because my time is over, it's the quality of accident investigation across the globe. I think this is also posing some risks, whether it's because of lack of skills or whether it's because of political influence. We do see a decrease in the quality of accident report, which is for us extremely concerning. Thank you.
Thank you, Giancarlo. Really interesting, and thanks for putting forward the UK perspective. Yannick, from Airbus point of view, how do we deal with this complexity?
First, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Maria and Florian and the team for inviting me to this panel. I'm afraid I'm going to repeat what Giancarlo has said.
Sorry.
And complement. No, it's good, because safety, it's a matter of repeat, and repeat. Why? First, the global picture is what? If we think about 30 years ago, the average fatal accident rate at industry level was, roughly speaking, 1 for 1 million departure, about 30 years ago. If you look today, I'm talking about the last generation of airplane. I mean all fly-by-wire airplanes, so all Airbus, starting with the 320, including 777, 787, and Comac. The fatal accident rate per million departure is between 1 for 25 million or 1 for 50 million, depending if you take into account those events for which there were only ground fatalities. So basically it means what? It means that within about 30 years, all of us at industry, we've been able to reduce by at least a factor of 30 this fatal accident rate, which is, and I cross fingers, let's keep humble, a superb achievement. Now, and it's back to what you were saying, the traveling public expectation is 0, which is normal, and this is our vision, how to get to the 0 accident. Because it's basically the norm when you look to this fatal accident rate. Now the traffic is increasing like hell. The environment in which we are, the buzz society is such that one single event, even if it is not a big drama, a big safety event, becomes a big story telling kind of things. So this is a world in which we are with all the complexities, a mix of safety, security. We talk about it. And the challenge is there. The challenge is for me further reinforced when we consider what happened as a result of the COVID, is that at industry level, all of us, not only OEMs, airlines, authorities, suppliers, all the aviation ecosystem has lost in a kind of sudden and unexpected and very significant loss of experience with the COVID crisis. We have all of us lost a number of experienced people. It takes time to catch up. So this is one aspect, erosion of, I would say, global experience here and there. What we observe as well is that because of this very low fatal accident rate we enjoy today, and once again, let's keep humble, we have a number of newcomers, new entrants. I'm not talking about the age, but the experience in the aviation system. A number of them have never been facing a major accident crisis. And a number of them take safety for granted. Some are shop floor people, but some are also executive level. With a question which is, why should I invest in something which is working for something which is not even in their radar screen? And for me, this is the today risk. This is the today risk, and when I hear feedback from a number of our operators, it's about that. It's about how to make sure that those new entrants, those new guys, be it shop floor within the whole organization, it's valid for OEMs, suppliers, it's valid for airlines, for MRO, for TRTO. It's all of us. It's all of us. It's to make sure that we keep this idea that safety, it's an endless, I'm back to your point again, sorry to repeat, it's an endless journey. It's never going to be granted, and at the end of the day, it relies on people, on human. So talking about risk, yes, we talk about emerging risk, thinking about malicious, spoofing, etc. Yes, spoofing, jamming is an issue. We are working on it. Short term, it was said in the previous panel, with flight ops training, a temporary procedure. We are looking at authorizing reset in flight, and we are looking for the future to make airplanes much more immune against those possible interferences, be it for GPS, things like quantum technology, working with Galileo. But it's not only GPS. We were talking about the 5G crisis, but the telco company are looking to the future, 6G, whatever. They are looking possibly to use the frequency band used for weather radar. What are we doing as an aviation industry to resist, to be resilient against this? So it's quite a challenge. Emerging risk, sorry to repeat, lithium battery, it's not emerging, it is there. If I look at the Airbus fleet, it's worldwide, it's more than 2 billion of passengers per year. If I accumulate Airbus, Boeing, more or less we have the same size of fleet, it's 4 billion. All of us, when we travel, if we count the number of lithium battery we carry, on an average is, how many of you have less than 4 lithium battery when you travel? So 4 multiplied by 4, 60 16 billion of fire risk exposure. 16 billion. We lost 321 early this year, got fire on ground. You have in mind some recent events, fire in flight. Thanks God there was a good application of the procedure, but we rely on a dynamic situation with passengers on board, with the challenge of extinguishing fire. So we're really looking for urgent call of action. I have in mind the recent studies which was done by, I think it was the FAA or EASA, I don't remember, one of the two. 60% of the source of lithium battery fire is power bank, e-cigarettes. Maybe provocative. What do we wait? What do we wait to prohibit? Starting with the power bank. Being with some airlines last week at the Safety Foundation seminar, one of the common points they were saying is that we need consistency. Our passengers are lost. When they go through the security check, depending on the airport, there is a thorough, in-depth search or not. And then some are authorized a given amount of energy for your power bank. Some others, it's different. How do you want the passengers to manage this? It's absolutely a nightmare. It's today risk. It's not future risk. It's not malicious. It is today. It is today. It is today. Traffic increase. Traffic increase. We talk about it. It's a huge demand of traffic. We all face these challenges. There is not a single week, basically, during which we don't hear about a very close call. A very close call. I don't want to be the black mouton noir, the black bad guy here, but I mean, I'm not the only one in this room having the guts telling us that we are ahead of us a Tenerife accident waiting to happen. We need all of us to grasp this. It is there. I mean, the last event we have all in mind, the Nice very close call accident, 10 feet. 10 feet is half of the height of a 320 fin. 10 feet was the lowest height separation between the two planes. A Tenerife waiting to happen. It is today, it's not in 10, 15 years. And it does not involve only, as usual, design improvement. Yes, we are working on it. It does not involve only pilots, compliant to procedure. It involves ATM, airports. And I see common point between this, between the ANEDA. I'm not finger pointing. I'm just sharing what we observe here and there. And I'm back to the initial point of what you were saying about the today's situation and the fatal accident rate. The huge risk is there. Complacency. And we are all, as human beings, facing this complacency trap. It's okay. It's working well. Are we sure? Are we sure that we have not a big elephant that we don't see or we don't want to see? I don't know. I may be too strong in my word there. I apologize for that. But I really see that we have a number of things. And at the end of the day, it's all about reinforcing our resilience capability. The word was used previously. I think it's about people. I think if we look at the evolution of aviation in the early days of air transport system, when they were bad things, we were fixing the machine or the engine. And then, following the Tenerife, we developed the CRM principle. And then we move on with human factor principle. And then to systemic SMS type of things. I think now we are at a time where, and I hear that in a positive manner, and it's very nice to see more and more kind of safety leadership value. And I think we are at this time where we really need to embark into this journey of making sure that it starts from the top of all of us. OEMs, supplier, airlines, ATM, airports, authorities, ground service handler, TRTO, MRO, safety leadership. To make sure that all the newcomers who join the aviation system, who do not have aviation as a background, who do not have the safety in their radar screen, do understand what it means. And do have, and I'm looking at Florian, it's not going to be a surprise, Florian, we had a talk together on that. But if there is maybe something, and I'm not someone who is looking for additional prescriptive rules, don't get me wrong, but I think if there is one, it may be to mandate for all C-suite type of people, for all actors of the aviation system, a minimum set of safety awareness, training, briefing, whatever it is, to have all those guys who have never been exposed, which is good for them with the negative drawback, to safety threat, that they do understand that they don't want to be there. I stop there because I have done my time.
Thank you, Yannick. No, look, it is sovereign speed, and I think it just reminds us what Florian always says, safety should not be taken for granted. So we have a huge responsibility, all of us, in our different roles, and we all have to play this role together, because the purpose is the same wherever your business is, and is to keep the skies safe. So I think it's a very important role that we have, and it's one that we just don't have to relax, and you both said it. I think it's very complex, but although we are all complex people with engineering or piloting minds or whatever, we are starting, and I can see that after being more than 30 years in aviation, to work really together on this, to share and to make sure that we do our best to keep the system as safe as it is today. So with that, apart from thanking my panelists, I'm going to open the floor for any questions. And I know lunch is afterwards, but yeah, we will really welcome your comments or your questions. So please use Slido to come in. I think that Yannick just made you speechless. Nobody dares to ask anything.
We were so clear that...
Yeah. It's like, we just need to be very sharp here. Let's see. Otherwise, we can do an stretching like Francois did yesterday and then go for lunch. No problem.
Maybe, Maria, while we wait for questions, something that was crossing my mind while we were talking is that, we talk about an integrated approach to risk, the need to involve, as you said, many actors, but some of the new actors do not necessarily have the same aviation background that the others have. So one important thing is to need to make sure that we speak the same language, that we can bring the new entrants to a level where we can understand each other in this respect. And we do have a question, so.
Thanks, Yannick. Are we still thinking on growth and growth? I mean, this is a... Do you want to react, or you want me to say something?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Is the question about we should stop...
Flying?
Growing.
Growing? Is it what it means? Personally, I don't think so. I think we shall not forget what aviation is about. It's about connecting people, connecting countries, etc. It provides really very positive benefit. I think personally at the end, and this is why I was saying that I think we may be in a kind of this 5 evolution of the aviation safety, from fixing the machine, CRM, human factor, SMS, systemic issues, and now resilience. It's part of the safety governance. It's part of the top leadership training. I think this is where we need to invest. This is really my deep conviction.
Yeah, and if I may, I mean, growth, for example, in the UK, it's a clear government priority. So it's not something that we have a choice. This is where we're going. We need to grow. And now we need to grow safely. The complexity is enormous. Growth for the UK means, for example, the 3rd runway at Heathrow. How to make the 3rd runway at Heathrow happen? It's not going to be the CAA. It's not going to be Heathrow. It's not going to be BA making it happen. It's going to be a joint effort from the ground into the air that will require a number of actors to come together, speak the same language, and really being focused on what we need to deliver and how to deliver it safely.
Yeah. On the question, do you think the point of view of cabin crew should be brought into this discussion? I think I was very clear. All the stakeholders involved in the aviation system, everybody has a contribution to make. So definitely yes. And I don't know if this is related to the lithium batteries topic, but in general, to all the topics, because if there is an angle that touches on that area, we should understand what that point of view is. And you probably are aware of all the groups that EASA has with both industry and member states to bring all this information together at technical level, and then, as I was saying, to put it through the different levels of governance to understand what we should do about this risk and what are the priorities. Then Carol, how can we answer an 13 investigation? Wow. Carol, thank you. I don't know where you are, but how many hours do you have for this question? I mean, what I can say is that we are working with ICAO quite closely. We are using ECARES to collect Annex 13 investigation information, which will then make us understand much better what is happening at global level, not only at European level. So this is going to bring a much more rich set of data. And we keep working with ICAO as well to enforce the publication of preliminary reports and final reports for accidents, because sometimes they are delayed. So the focus on only fly matters. I mean, again, we can have that conversation with ICAO. We are very close to them, and they are listening. So again, this is all about working together in making the system safer. And there was a point that I want to make. Investigating accidents is very important, but investigating near misses is even more important. And we are going to put a special focus on that, because that's where we will learn even more. Somebody said it yesterday, when an accident happens, we may not see everything because maybe it's destroyed, and we cannot even talk to the people that were on the aircraft, unfortunately. So the near misses are a key part of data that we need to understand better and mitigate, even if it didn't get to a fatality scenario. Jim, the problem with lack of experience, what I would cause based optimism is that it undermines all the safety actions, decisions. Do you want to react to that?
Yeah, I do have an opinion. Well, I agree, Jim. I don't know where you are, but
I don't know where everybody is. They're hiding there. Like, what?
of course, I agree. The problem with this is that our understanding of the risk may be undermined by this issue, because it's the usual problem. When we look at probability, we may think that based on our understanding, certain things will not be materializing simply because they haven't been materializing in the past. And this may give us a false understanding of the risk picture that we're facing if we look at risk in the traditional manner. So my problem every morning when I wake up is, do we have the correct understanding of the risk, or we're being over-optimistic because something just never happened? So you don't know what you don't know, right? And being optimistic in this case is not always the best option. Yeah.
If I may on this one, I think, and it appears that we had a talk yesterday evening with Jim on that, I think we need to question ourselves on the training from ab initio side, and including recurrent. Are we good enough as an industry to enforce the fact that new pilots, mechanics, cabin crew, whatever the field, learn from the past by revisiting some past accidents, so that they don't forget that and they keep that in their radar screen. If I look to the last 12 months of Airbus fleet operations with what is reported to us, so not everything is reported to us, but I have in mind few examples with young people. It's déjà vu. It's really déjà vu about approach from above, lowest point 250 feet above water. It's somatographic illusion with no guidance, nothing, because of taking off in a rush because the airport was going to close. 41 feet was the lowest point. Another one was 23 feet with a mishandled go around. Everything was normal from a design perspective, from ATM perspective, etc. But these are déjà vu situations where you question yourself, are we sure that those new pilots got an insight to the past lessons learned, whereas they arrive in a system which is very, very safe, as Jim is really working, the success-based optimism.
Thank you. Well, we are in minus 4.19 seconds, 2021. So I'm going to try to answer super quick the next 3-4 questions because everybody will be hungry. Just simply saying, does the mention interrelated safety, security? 100%. We need to understand how those affect each other and what decisions that we make from a security point of view may impact safety and vice versa. So yes. The second one, although anonymous, I'm going to name, so Pierluca Satriano, sitting in the second row, is our head of safety risk management. And we have a very, very interactive process with all the stakeholders. So I invite this anonymous person to talk to him so he can explain more, and any ideas will be very welcome to have this interactive approach between all of us. Oh God, there are too many questions, and I don't think, can I answer? No more. So prioritization, again, is something that is part of our new methodology to identify these top safety topics and to make sure that we address and put the resources where it matters most. And the methodology will be explained by EASA, and we will have more conferences and events where we will be able to go in detail of this new approach. But I think, just to close, first of all, thank you very much to both of you for your perspectives. But I want to invite you all, everybody in this room and in your organizations, to live safety, to make safety your main thing when you start the day, when you go home. Because that's the only way to keep the system safe. If we believe on it, if we really pass it to the rest of the organization, and that it trumps on top of any other agenda, being financial or commercial or reputation or whatever. So let's do safety first, and then let's make sure that everybody in our organization and in our circles of influence, our parents, everybody, you bring a lithium battery in the aircraft. Do you know the consequences? And sorry, I've been talking to Pierluca about this. EASA is going to look into this into a lot of detail because it's a big risk. So with that, thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy your lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.